Hey, everybody. Welcome to what I guess we're on season 5, episode 4 of Tech Talk. Yeah, that's right. Today we're going to talk about FMX. We're going to talk about FMX specifically in Montage M. And fortunately, I'm not a super huge programmer. I mean, I program, but I'm not a deep programmer. Not like the two guys that I'm going to introduce you to that I think you probably definitely already know. One of them, you might already know the second one, because we have some of his very cool stuff up on Yamaha Synth, specifically his Easy FM series that we posted, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. That's some of the best FM programming videos I've ever seen. They're really great. But before we get into that, I should introduce who I'm talking about. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about somebody who you already know from Germany, Hans-Peter Hinkel. Hape, hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you, Blake?
I am great. Again, a master FM programmer. This guy, sorry, that way, right here. That guy.
Which one? No.
In fact, you're going to hear some of his programming in the one sound that I'm going to play today when I talk about my little introductory thing. That was a sound that Hape created that's very cool, an 8-part performance. You'll hear it in a second. Anyway, Hans-Peter Hinkel. And now also joining us from Sweden this time is a great musician, a great programmer, a wonderful guy, Tobias Leo. Hello, Tobias.
Hello, guys. Great.
How's it
Hello.
going? Good to see you. Looking, man, every time I see you, you just look hipper, I think. I don't know how it happens, but he's got the coolest everything. Just the shades, the hat, everything. Anyway, Tobias, yeah, that's what I was talking about, is the Easy FM series that we put up on Yamaha Synth. That I first of all, the first thing that got me about it was everything looks really good, which is half the battle. Your camera work and everything was real good. Your presentation was really good, but the bottom line is the programming, and it's truly amazing. Both of you guys are such great programmers and make these sounds that are expressive, and they sound modern, and they sound full. It's great, and so I hope you guys we'll enjoy this today, talking to two very great FM programmers later on in the show here. But anyway, so let's get started. I'll talk about me first, because I'm the most. No, I'm not the most important. So, well, let me talk about me in regards to. Here's my overhead. FM synthesis. Well, I have my own personal, very profound memories of FM myself. When I started playing keyboards, I started playing piano didn't really get serious until I left high school. But when I was sort of right at the end of high school, I kind of got more into keyboards and synthesizers. And I think the first keyboard I had was an organ. It was like a Vox organ, an old beaten up one. I had an ARP Odyssey, an analog synthesizer. That was very cool. And I thought I had an idea of what synthesis was about. I always thought it was going to be kind of a monophonic. It kind of dates me a little bit, but I knew that there were other keyboards and synths out there that were really expensive that I couldn't afford, that were polyphonic and that had different technologies. But I bought a DX7, and I remember the day I bought the DX7, and I'll tell you the two things that blew my mind about it. The first one was the expressiveness, really. I was so amazed by being able to sit at the DX7, and as I played harder with more velocity, the sound not only got louder, but the timbre changed, and that was a revelation to me. That was the first thing. The second thing was I could play 16 notes of polyphony, and back then, that was amazing. I remember when that would have been, I have a friend of mine that said, back in the day, 1 note of polyphony, that cost you $1,000. 2 notes of polyphony, that cost you $2,000. That's the legendary bad Mr. Phil Clinton, and told me that was correct. That's what it used to be like. So FM to me was this wonderful, lots of polyphony, but expressiveness, and that was an amazing thing. Now let's fast forward to today, and let's compare what's different about FM then. Well, back then you had 6 operators, 32 algorithms, and all the operators were sine waves. So whereas you could get a lot of different sounds out of it, it was a little limiting on how how FM sounded back then. It had a very specific sound. And it's why I think a lot of people think of it as like this 80s sort of sound because of that FM DX piano, which Montage can do great, but you kind of still had some limitation because of what it was back then. The other thing is that, the DX7 had only a mono output. It had no effects. So there were lots of things that have changed greatly with traditional DX style FM synthesis today. Now we have this 8 operator up to 88 algorithms being the arrangement of operators in carrier or modulator format, right? The idea, by the way, being that the carriers are the ones that you hear. The modulators are the ones you don't actually hear modulators. Modulators affect carriers. They're the things that give you the upper sideband partials and the upper harmonics that make the interesting sounds of FM. But so you have this 8 operator, 30 or 88 algorithm, but now you also have operators that have not just sine waves available for their waveform. There's different ones that are all harmonics present, like a sawtooth wave, and there's stuff that have odd, there's stuff that have just different things like that. That's one thing. The other thing is that there's a few things that make this so much cooler. A resonant filter that we didn't have in the older DX FM synthesizers. You had no filter, so you couldn't filter out some of the harmonics like you do with a synthesizer type analog style filter. Well, now we have up to 18 filter types that I can apply to FM sounds in this, so it adds a little bit more expressiveness and difference in sound right there. Effects, obviously, inside Montage M, each part has up to 2 insertion effects. You have a variation effect, all these different things that bring you up to date to what you can do with FM. And finally, the one thing about the DX7 that you definitely didn't have much control over was real-time control. So you couldn't really affect things in real time. You had, I think, a data slider. You could probably rig things to do certain types of real-time control, but not on board. It was membrane switches. Everything was saved in memory. Well, now we have all of these real-time controls with the motion control system that we have with Montage M, where I have a ribbon controller, modulation. We all have these 8 knobs right here. Sorry, every time I do that, I have to bring my hand back down to refocus the camera. Oh, I'll figure it out in a second. Hopefully it'll get focused back. I'm looking at it. Out of focus. Anyway, where was I at? These 8 knobs right here. You can assign controls to those knobs. You can assign the knobs to be controlled by the super knob. All those control, real-time control of FM. That's a really powerful thing. So before I get going any more with this, I'm going to play a little bit of FM because I have been talking too much. So this is something that that Hoppe actually created for the original version of this is on the Montage Expanded collection. That's a free collection that you can download still for Montage and Montage M. It's a great free sort of sampling of a whole bunch of stuff that they do over at Easy Music. And one of the sounds he put in there was one called Pure FM Experience, and he made this little sound for me. Everything you're about to hear in this little performance that I'm going to do here, these are all FM parts. The pads, the lead sound that I'm going to play over, even the drums are generated by FM 8 parts. So check it out. Just a little something to play over. But all that you heard there was FM. I'm going to get this to focus. Usually this works. You got to grab the grab the fist, grab the hand. I'm going to try this one more time, and then if it doesn't work, I'm just going to move on. I can't move on, though, because I really need this to focus, because you need to see some of the new things that we've had. There it goes. See it? See? Autofocus working fine. All right. Plus, I forget I have the screen right there, too. All right. Let me show you some cool stuff that were added in OS 2.0. There's some basic UI things that they add in here that you can really see over in this area right here when I touch the FM selected part, and then I turn it to element operator oscillator. So you see this right here. Now, the reason why I wanted to play first is because it's easier to see this if I turn these suckers up, but we'll go back here to FM color. You can see that the in the screen, and it's over right there. Let me see if I can point right at it. There's the algorithm. So this is one of those cool stacked algorithms, which is one of my favorite ones right here, is that stacked one. So operators 1, 3, 5, and 7, those are all modulators. Modulators, again, modulate the carriers. The carriers are the ones that make the sound. The modulator are the ones that give you the upper extensions of the harmonic series in FM synthesis. Now, if you look at the faders now, and this is something they added in OS 2.0, and it does show up even on my camera. Sometimes the lighting gets weird. What I'm seeing is red, 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 bright red, and then sort of a dimmed out red, which appears sort of orange on the screen that I'm seeing here. But you can tell at a glance that operators 1, 3, 5, and 7, and look in the screen here, 1, 3, 5, and 7, those ones, those are the modulators. So you can tell at a glance. Now, if I go over to oscillator, there's also little asterisks that appear in the screen. You can see them right there on operator 1. Let me see if I can get right there. Right there. Operator 1 has a little asterisk next to it, as does 3, as does 5, as does 7. So I see, again, those are my modulators. So I know that when I change those modulators, that's what's really going to change a lot of the sound many times in an FM sound. In fact, this sound has changed greatly because I've turned all these up and down here. Now, if I turn all of the carriers down, there's no sound. Turn the carriers back up, then the modulators. See, you can hear how it changes down. That's the cool thing about FM synthesis, is changing those things in real time. That's something I couldn't really do effectively on my DX7. I can totally do it with with Montage. So those are the two major things. The other thing is that if you look at the knobs, I believe the knobs also have a different look as well. And of course, there it is, nice. And I will probably never use the autofocus on this again. Because you know, this camera here, this one autofocus is so much better. Not today, though. I'm having issues with my autofocus. Anyway, these also illuminate a little brighter depending on if it's modulator or carrier. That was my main point. Anyway, so there's my brief introduction to this this tech talk we're doing here today. Now, let's switch it over to Hape, and he's going to talk to you a little bit more about some programming tips and some of the easy FM stuff that's on this to quickly edit sound. So I'll turn it over to Hape. There you go.
Yeah.
Take it away,
Thank you,
Hape.
Blake.
Yeah.
Great. As mentioned, I would like to talk a little bit about, under the main topic, easy FM. We all know that there are a lot of musicians that are a bit scared about FM, so it seems to be complicated, or it looks complicated. And with the introduction of Montage M, we have some new abilities to shape or even create FMX sounds without any knowledge about FM. So let's go right into it. I preloaded preset performance here. It's called VaryPad 1. That's a preset that I created. It sounds like this. And you can see, when you take a look into the sub display, you can see that we are on the tab FM Color here. And FM Color provides 7 knobs with offset to dedicated parameters. I'm talking about that in a minute. First of all, I'd like to show you, or to demonstrate, how to get there, because For example, when you have a different FM performance, for example, an older one, which does not or did not feature all these things, it might look like this. So you don't have access to FM color, and on the main screen you don't have access to the algorithm and stuff like that. And to change this, in this case, the knobs are set to assign here. So these are now the assignable knobs. Whenever we like to use them as quick edit knobs, we have to go to quick edit. So tap on quick edit. There we are in the quick edit area. But you see the FM color is not yet showing up. This is because the part is not selected. When I select the part, as soon as I select the part, you can see the first tab here is FM color. And if you like to see the algorithm and even maybe change the algorithm within the main display, it's as easy as using this display knob and change the view mode from default to part info. And there we go, we have the algorithm. You can even select a different one if you like to, and you can change it even with this value, or change the feedback for the one operator that has feedback. But back to my example performance here, because this is the one I want to use to demonstrate the knobs here. As mentioned, my main goal was to show something that's really easy. So for those of you who are not that in FM and want to change or want to create sounds, but for those of you who are interested what these knobs are doing, as mentioned, these are all controlling offsets. What is an offset? An offset refers to an adjustable value that is added or subtracted from an already set value. So for example, when you have let's say you have an operator level of 74 or something like that. An offset starts with 0 at 74, and then it subtracts or it adds something to this particular value. And this is all about these 7 parameters, or 7 offsets, 7 knobs here. Let's go step by step. The first is called FM depth, and this controls the modulator levels, so for all of the modulators, and also a little bit of feedback. And let's work with this a little bit and hear what it sounds like. Bring it to the left. Less operators, less modulators. Bring it to the right. More modulation is coming in. So the next knob is called FM harmonics. FM harmonics affects the frequency of the modulators, and it sounds like this. So you can go from slightly detuned sound to really crazy. Like this. And next to it we have the offset parameter called FM texture. And FM texture is a really interesting parameter because this is an offset to many parameters at the same time, because this affects the spectral forms and skirts as well as the resonance. And it also has a different behavior to the right side, so from 0 to plus 99, as well as from 0 to minus 99. To plus 99, it changes the modulators, and to minus 99, from 0 to minus 99, it changes the carriers. And it sounds like this. First, we go for the modulators to the right-hand side. And then we go to the left-hand side. And there we are in the resonance area. The next parameter is the FM attack. This is basically the attack time. And to the left-hand side, it also controls a little bit of the attack level. And it also affects just the modulators. So whenever you want to hear it, you have to bring it some modulators like this, and then let's see how the attack works. So now it's pretty quick. I'll give it a little bit more. There we go. Or even a bit more. Or just write nothing. It's immediately there. Next to it we have the FM decay. FM decay, I have to bring down the sustain to make it a little bit more obvious. Sorry. So now we don't hear any decay at all. But when I bring it up a little bit, yeah, with sustain I already worked with sustain. Sustain just sets the level that the decay time is falling to. So when you want to hear some of the decay, you have to reduce the sustain, as I did already. And last but not least, we have the release. And also I bring in a little bit of modulator, and then I reduce it to 0 so that it's as obvious as it can be. So here, when I play real short, it's just cutting the modulation down, but when I bring in the release, the more I get, the more release we have. Yeah, that's a quick introduction. As mentioned, you don't have to know anything about these parameters, what they are doing, but you can use them really easy. You see, I don't have to dive into a menu, I don't have to go into an edit menu or whatever. I just can use the knob as they are, and you can really create new variations of your FM sounds, even from the FM converter when you converted something from the DX series, for example. And whenever you have a sweet spot or a cool sound, a cool sounding performance, then you can store it as a new variation and you're good to go. Another cool thing to create, easily create FMX sounds is Smart Morph. So I'm calling up a different performance right here. It's also a performance from Montage Expanded. It sounds like this. It's driven by an arpeggio. And this performance I will take to use Smart Morph to create new variations of this performance. And I don't want to go too deep into Smart Morph itself, because we already had a tech talk about Smart Morph when it was introduced, which was in, I think it was in 2020, with a release of Montage OS 3.5 and MODX OS 2.5. And so if you like to look at this, or you can even go to the music production guide where we have an article about that. So I just want to show you a quick way to use it to create new FMX sounds or FMX performances without any knowledge. So when I go to Smart Morph, first here I have to go to Edit, and at the Edit page I can add additional parts. It has to be, or all have to be FMX parts. So of course I go to part number 9 and I add from my user, where I already prepared some, I add 4 single part performances here. And there we go. And last but not least. So now I have 4 performances, 4 single part performances starting from 9 to 12. And now the only thing I have to do is press Learn. And now it takes the 4 parts, the parameter settings of these 4 parts, and provides this grid. And then I can use the cursor to move through this grid, and it morphs parameter settings of these 4 parts starting from 9 to 12. Let's hear what this sounds like. You can always start a new learn process and then use the cursor again. And what we also can do, in addition, we can use the FM color parameters because everything is working simultaneously. So let's check what this does. Yeah, I can go for this for ages or for hours. And but you see, there's nothing special. You don't have to learn something. You just can play around with this. And whenever you have a cool sound, as mentioned, you can store the entire performance. Or what you can also do, you can copy the part number 1, which is the combination, or in which is the combination of all the parameters stored. You can just copy it to part number 2, going like Shift and Edit, and then you say copy part 1 to part 2, and then you stored the current setting from this one, and then you can create a new one, and then you can copy as much as parts as you have free slots in this performance, and then you can store, of course, the entire performance. Yeah, so that was my quick introduction to as easy as possible FMX. And now I'd like to hand over to Tobias. He will show something about his modern approach to FM. Take it away, Tobias.
Thank you, Happe, and thank you for that great walkthrough. I felt I learn a lot every time when I see your tutorials and your walkthroughs. Well, I have some sounds I want to show you. They start off similar, but they have different approaches. All sounds that I'm going to show today are, for me, quite simple. It only uses like a couple of operators, and they're built similarly, but they have modulations that make them differ a lot, and they also use the assignable rotaries to build like different synthesizers function for different sounds. So we can start with this. This is one of the presets that come with a Montage. It's called SH pad. SH is for sample and hold. And within the synth, there's lots of modulation possibilities. I like to use them all in, not bigly, but like small parts of each of the modulation sources, like the motion sequencer and the LFOs and the effects, and use them together to create a playable and a sound that has some complex sounds to it, but it's still quite easy to program. So this is SH pad in its most simple form, and when we add chorus, we get a chorus, and then we can use modulation by aftertouch to introduce more chorus. So this is kind of mono, but when I dig into the keyboard, I get a wider sound. So I can dig in just before I change chords and use it expressively. And I have some modulation here if I want to make the sound more aggressive, and also I can use the motion sequencer. So I get a lot of modulation with not so many parts. And this sound is quite simple. We're going to continue with another simple sound. This is one of the few doubles in this set. Almost all the sounds I have done for today is just one part. This is two, but it's the same part. It's only panned for a more stereo vibe. And here I have used some of the controls similar to what Happy showed, but I've used assignables to use stuff like feedback to easily get a wider sound. So we can start really simple like this. Maybe let's make it major. Chorus and a little more vibrato here, the motion sequencer, and a slow vibrato here. So we have two different vibratos. And we can go crazy with this almost drunken effect. Maybe somewhere in the middle. So it's, and these sounds are, if I go to the page that Happy showed, it's like it's not so many oscillators, and I almost always use this algorithm where you have like 4 oscillators in it with one operator. Each has its control. Or one carrier has each of the 4 carriers have one operator. So I could use these to change the sound, or I can customize it like I like to do, because I want to build the controls that I want for just this specific sound. And we can continue with another sound that's super playable. This started out as my own initial patch that I start with, and then I just built on lots of modulation. So if we start this like this, it's just very expressive and responds to your playing, with the timbre responding to the how hard I hit the keys. But when I add the motion sequencer, we have a small panning thing going on, but also a timbre change. And that's because I use 2 lanes of the motion sequencer. Let's see if I can show you that. So I have 2 lanes of motion sequencers here, and they're in different tempos, and they are addressed to different things. So we have one lane going as an LFO to the panning, and one to the volume of the operator. And also we have some chorus, and here I have some more chorus, or the depth of the chorus, and also vibrato or LFO control here. And let's bring on some reverb to get it bigger. So we can start really small. And then we can go back to small. Like that. Sometimes I like to use the super knob for the delay. And with the knob position buttons, we can have fixed delay times. That's a really cool way to go back to the key of the song. I can do like maybe do something like this. can go back like that with the mid position. And again, double LFO here, or chorus here with extra depth of the chorus depth, and vibrato here. So you have a lot of control like that. So a simple sound can become bigger the more buttons I press and the more dials I push here. Really fun way of working. And this sound is called FMX FM. It's like a double FM sound. I had really fun it's also super simple. Let's see if we can check the FM color here. We can see that it's not a lot going on. It's only 2 operators. So operator 1 and 2, that's it. But we use a flanger as an extra FM source. And if I go back to my assignables here, I'm FMing the FM, so it's more is more here. Let's bring in some chorus. Maybe some soft vibrato. And again with a delay. We can also use the assignable 2 as an envelope. We can shift the decay time, so we can use this soft sound. But we can also play and go crazy. But we always start out with a simple sound that we can go crazy with. Let's check out another sound with a different vibe. This is an attempt to modernize the FM piano that we all love. But sometimes you need something that's not so belly and a little more, I don't want to say dull, but less overtony and belly, just more like a softer sound. And the new mod verb or shimmery verb is beautiful on these kinds of sound. We can bring in some more tremolo. It doesn't sound like a piano, but it plays like one. We can maybe take away some, clean it up a little bit. So we have some vibrato here. And use it like a piano. Maybe a little reverb. It's super fun to play and has that expressivity, but sounds like something else. And of course you can go overboard with the effects here too. We have control over everything. Yeah. So that's some of the sounds that are super simple to set up. Almost all of them are 2 operators, but we work a lot with modulation sources like the motion sequencers. We have basically four LFOs with different tempos and different waveforms. We can use them to change timbre, pitch, amplitude, panning, all at once with the LFO and the part LFO. So there's loads of fun to use the MODX or the Montage like a DX7 with lots of pedals and outboard modulation, but it's all in here. Super fun, I think. Yeah. Should we listen to something else? What do you, or should we just talk about this? What would you say, guys?
Good. You're good. Keep going. We got time.
Okay,
those are great sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Keep going. These are awesome.
It's fun. We can play one of the. This is even called FM So Simple because it starts out. Let's lose the effects for a start. So attack and decay is right here where you want them. And we have vibrato here. I don't think I ever signed that, but chorus here and more chorus here. So it's the same chorus, but this one adds control over, let's check it. This one adds control over the chorus depth, I think. So if I push shift and control view, I can check out the assign to, and I see it's insert B LFO depth. So that's the insert B is my chorus. And and this one, if we go back, shift, control view, assign 1, is the dry wet of the same chorus. So now we have a dry wet of 0, and now it's like 20 or something, and then we add the depth, so more of the modulation. And here we have more modulation with the pitch modulation. So it's to go from almost boring but useful sound and a bigger sound like this, and also super fast to make it like a brass sound. And always with FM, this expressivity, we can change the sound just by playing. My girlfriend loves that song.
That's, it's amazing how that's a single part. Right.
Yeah, it's a single part, and it's only, if we check it with, it's only it's only one operator. So this is even simpler.
Yeah, it's just, that's part of that, the waveforms that you have outside of just having sine waves. The fact that you have that effect, because, I'm listening to it in my headphones and how much low end there is in there and fatness out of
so
just
much low end.
that. It's unbelievable.
It's so much low end, and you can. I mean, there's loads of sine waves if you want to add more low end.
Well, and not to mention the 7 additional parts that you
exactly. But I mean, if you make one sound this easy and just copy it and pan it and fan it out like that, you know. So it's I usually start simple, and then it's when you can like make octaves and chords and stuff with all the parts and make it super big. But this is, I mean, sometimes you can say a lot with a simple sounds, as long as you have this way of talking with it. And also on this sound, I think I have an arpeggiator that is also using the motion sequencer a little bit. So the motion sequencer does the velocity for me now. So you have you have the rhythm within the rhythm, the same sound.
Yep.
Let's see if I have a. So much fun.
That's awesome. So great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely perfect. I mean, so can some of these sounds that you're playing here can you upload those to Soundmondo or save them so that we can
Absolutely.
that would be awesome.
I would love
think
to
people
do that.
would really love that. I want to show one thing
If you promise to just make small changes to them and see how easy it is to dig in
That's absolutely. Well, I mean, that's part of what your whole Easy FM thing that you did for Montage was very much about simple things to make, you know, something that sounds really kind of modern and moves as far away from the traditional DX, you know, type of electric piano or marimba sound or whatever. I mean, certainly it's capable of doing that, but having all these other things.
Yeah,
see, people are going, yes, please upload those sounds. Everybody wants them. I want to show one thing that you did that just so people are aware of where to look for this, because you are using the shift commands very quickly to get around. And there's a whole bunch of them in here. That's why they put 2 shift buttons. So just real quick, I'm going to show, here's my overhead, where this is located, because it's really simple. You just go utility, right? And it's under settings, right? And then other info, and it says shift function, and there they all are. And you can find it's like a little bit of the manual right here. So just so everybody knows where that's located, you can find all your shift functions. Boop, right in the front there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there it is. So I saw you. I just go shift, boom, and I get here to the.
Yeah, it's awesome. So easy. When you want to know what's assigned to what, it's really nice to just go shift, control, view, and then.
Oh yeah, absolutely it is. It's kind of the only. Once you figure it out, say, oh, this is way faster. So, well, that's awesome. Thank you, man. That was really great. In fact, both of you. We can. Here, I'll go back to my presenter only thing here. I have to do the resources portion of our show here. And then we'll come all back here. So real quick, before we go, I want to point out these resources that are right here. So Yamaha Synth, YamahaSynth.com. That's all things Yamaha Synth. We have a forum up there. We get more people joining the forum, more engagement. If you have any questions, there are some people that have different systems, some people that use different DAWs, and they want to ask a question about how might I use my synth with this particular DAW, and you can go there and find people just like you that are using a similar type of thing and ask it in the forum. So that's YamahaSynth.com. There's also lots of articles up there. The Easy FM series is up there. I also post things which I'll talk about at the very end there for the music production guide. When that comes out, I post links to that if you forget or you didn't know that there was a new one, because the music production guide is cool, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. Anyway, YamahaSynth.com. Just all the links are in the description here. Idea Scale. Idea Scale is a place where you can put your ideas up for features or actual full-on products that you'd like Yamaha to maybe look into. So go up there, put your ideas up, join the Idea Scale community, and put your ideas there. That's, again, links in the description for that. Soundmondo is our free social sound sharing site that we are going to do all that we can to get both Hape's and the sound that I was playing. We'll put that up there. Some of Tobias's sound, we'll put those up there as well. You can download free sounds for, let's see, Montage, ModiX, ModiX Plus, YC, CP, Reface. Did I miss anything? I don't know. CK series, all that stuff. Free sounds. That's at soundmondo.com. Our Yamaha Synth SoundCloud space is where I posted, let's see, when OS 2.0 came out, there were 58 new performances, and I posted every single audition so people could hear all the different new performances in a very quick little musical example. I believe that some of those performances were created by both Hape and Tobias, actually, too. So you might hear their auditions up there, too. But that's at SoundCloud. There's also, I think we have 64 or 65 podcasts, interviews with all sorts of different people, artists. We even I did a podcast with Dr. John Chowning, who was the discoverer of the FM algorithm from Stanford University. That was a great conversation I had with, Professor Emeritus at Stanford University at CCRMA, the Computer Center for Research in Musical Acoustics at Stanford. That's where he was. He's a composer, brilliant, wonderful guy. Check that out. That's one of the podcasts we did. It's all available on SoundCloud. And then finally, the music production guide is, I think we're in year 12 of that, 13 maybe. It's been a while, but I know that Hape's working on one right now. There's one that just dropped previously for OS 2.0. These are great, full-on, like, magazine-style layout with lots of great information, lots of cool stuff on not just synthesizers, but also DTX, electronic drums, and so on. That's the music production guide. Go and check that out. And that, I believe, is all that I have on that area here. So, wow, guys, that was amazing. Very cool. I think, it blows my mind how cool the FM engine is in this system. You add ANX to that, and then obviously the huge amount of AWM2 content. And, I mean, it's really quite a sonic powerhouse that's so expressive and so awesome. And but specifically with the FMX stuff, you guys are such great programmers. And I should mention that there are a few other things that are we have stuff by Manny Fernandez that are very deep dives. If you really want to get into deep programming, Manny has a whole bunch of stuff on FM up there. He's got a basic FM series that he used the Reface DX to show the power of just 4 operators. But then he has the I think there's Manny's FM Manifesto, I think is what it is. Manny's something like that. And then there's one that's called FM Experience or FM something. Anyway, those articles are up there. Tobias' stuff is up there. Lots of stuff on YamahaSynth.com. So that's all that I have. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Hape, Tobias, really appreciate you guys. As always, that was great stuff. All of it, man. So cool. Really appreciate it. But that's all I got. Anything from you guys? Good?
Well, thanks. Have a great day, I would say, or a great evening wherever you are.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So thank you very much. Join us, by the way. I believe it's September 3rd. Look on YamahaSynth.com, I think, or the Instagram for Yamaha Synths for the next Tech Talk date. I think it's September 3, but don't take my word for it yet. We'll let you know. Anyway, that's all we got for this edition of Tech Talk. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. See ya.
See ya.
You did that. I can do it too, right?